To curb the constant killing of farmers and destruction of farmlands by herdsmen, more southern states have enacted the Anti-Open Grazing Bill ahead of the September 1st, 2021 target set by the 17 southern governors for the states in the region to enact the legislation, this day investigations has revealed. The 17 southern governors of the southern state had in a meeting held in Lagos on July 5, 2021, urged the 17 states in the region to ensure that the legislation against open grazing of cattle is put in place on or before September 1st. Following the governor's resolution, Delta, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, and Enugu state governments have sent the bills to their respective state House of Assemblies, while the Osun State House of Assembly on Thursday passed the bill into law. Ondo State House of Assembly had passed the bill into law 3 days before the governors' meeting, while Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri had in March 2021 signed the bill into law. Before the resolution of the governors, the anti-open grazing law was already operational in Ogun, Abia, Oyo, Ekiti, and Ebonyi states. However, Anambra, Cross River, Imo, Edo, and Lagos states were yet to initiate the bill 17 days to the September 1st target set by the southern governors. In line with the resolution of the governors, the Delta State House of Assembly had on Monday, July 26, 2021, held a public hearing on a bill for the regulation of livestock breeding, rearing, and marketing, which will prohibit open grazing in the state. The well-attended public hearing held at the Assembly Complex Press Center in Asaba was organized by the Assembly's Joint Committees on Special Bills, Agriculture, and Natural Resources. Chairman of the Joint Committee and Chief Whip of the House, Honorable Pat Ajuda, had specifically requested memoranda from stakeholders including the State Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Director of Livestock, Ministry of Agriculture, the Nigerian Police Force, Department of State Services DSS, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Board of Internal Revenue, Cattle Dealers and Breeders Association, Butchers Union of Nigeria, Farmers Association, and Civil Society Organization CSOs. The Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association also submitted memoranda on the Delta State Livestock Breeding, Rearing, and Marketing Regulation Bill. The bill had earlier passed the second hearing on the floor of the State House of Assembly on July 14, shortly after passing the first reading. The resolution of the Southern Governors has also prompted Akwa Ibom State to initiate a bill titled Acquisition of Ranches, Grazing, and Administration of Livestock Regulatory Bill 2021. This anti-open grazing bill, which was sponsored by the lawmakers representing Makbat Ehin State Constituency, Honorable Victor Ekwere, and co-sponsored by 12 other legislators, has already scaled the first reading on the floor of the House. The bill to outlaw open grazing of cattle in Enugu State also last Thursday passed the second reading at the State House of Assembly following the Southern Governor's resolution. The lawmakers have directed the Joint House Committees on Agriculture, Judiciary, and Security to conduct a public hearing on the bill. Speakers of the House of Assembly, Honorable Edward Umbosi, said the bill would give farmers the confidence to return to their farms. Also in line with the resolution of the Southern Governors, the Rivers State House of Assembly had received correspondence from Governor Nyesom Wike to enact a law banning open grazing and rearing of livestock in the state. Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Ikunyi Owaji Ibani, had at plenary read a letter on the executive bill which was addressed to him by the governor. The bill is titled Enactment of Rivers State Public Prohibition of Open Rearing and Grazing of Livestock and Ranching Administration Bill 2021. Wike in the letter said the bill followed a unanimous decision taken by the Southern Governors Forum recently to ban open grazing in the South. Also in line with the demand for the Southern Governors, the Osun State House of Assembly last Thursday passed a bill to regulate animal grazing and establishments of cattle, ranches, and other related matters. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Timothy Owoye, at plenary noted that the bill passed into law would prevent the destruction of farms, crops by open rearing and grazing of livestock. Owoye added that the bill would also prevent killings and sexual molestation as well as protect the environment from degradation and pollution caused by open rearing and grazing of livestock. The Ondo State House of Assembly had 3 days before the governor's July 5th meeting in Lagos passed into law the Anti-Open Grazing Bill in a bid to regulate the activities of herdsmen and the rearing of livestock in the state. Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri had last March signed into law the state's Livestock Breeding and Marketing Regulation Bill 2021, banning open grazing of livestock in the state. Diri assented to the bill shortly after its passage by the 24-member House of Assembly. Before the meeting of the Southern governors, the anti-open grazing law was already operational in Abia, Oyo, Ekiti, Ebonyi, and Ogun states. In Abia State, the Control of Nomadic Cattle Rearing and Prohibition of Grazing Routes and Reserves Bill 2016 was passed into law by the State House of Assembly in June 2018. However, the state government had publicly expressed its frustration with the Federal Security Agency's failure or even outright refusal to enforce the anti-grazing law. In Oyo State, the State House of Assembly had in October 2019 passed a bill titled Oyo State Open Rearing and Grazing Regulation Law, which was signed into law by Governor Seyi Makinde. Before the setting up of the Amoteku Corps, the state government had also lamented that security agencies with the power to enforce it were under the control of the federal government. Ebonyi state government had also enacted a law on anti-open grazing in 2018, but the legislation, Law Number 010 of 2018, Ebonyi State Miscellaneous Offences Law 2018, had not been fully implemented, and this has resulted in the constant killings of farmers by herders in the state. Ekiti State government had also enacted anti-open grazing law titled Prohibition of Cattle and Other Ruminant Grazing Law 2016. Ogun State government had also signed anti-open grazing bill law in 2016. Meanwhile, despite the resolution of the southern governors, Anambra, Cross River, Imo, Edo, and Lagos states were yet to submit any anti-open grazing bill to their lawmakers. In Lagos State, this day gathered that the State Ministry of Justice was still preparing the bill. A source at the ministry told this day at the weekend that the state would not meet the September 1st target set by the southern governors. The investigation also revealed that the Imo State government has not sent such a bill to the House of Assembly. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. Declan Emelumba, had referred this day to the State House of Assembly, noting that it was the House of Assembly that should speak on the matter. However, several calls were put to the House of Chairman of Information, Honorable Johnson Doru, representing Idiotu South constituency, was not answered, as he merely replied, "Can I call you later?" which he did not fulfill as at the weekend. This day gathered that herdsmen have destroyed crops during open grazing in Irete, Avun, Obinze in Owerri West local government area, and Imekuku, Agbala, Amakioha, Akwa Kuma in Owerri North local government area. Communities in Obowo, Okigwe, Umbase, and other local government areas are also affected by open grazing. Cross River State government had also ignored the southern governor's demand despite a resolution by the state lawmakers urging the state government to reject open grazing because it was against an established environmental law of the state. The Speaker of the House, Honorable Etang Jonah William, had told this day that the resolution substitutes and the lawmakers remain opposed to open grazing. Despite the reported cases of attacks on farmers and destruction of farmlands by herdsmen in Anambra State, the state government was yet to initiate a bill on ban open grazing. Herdsmen had reportedly stormed farm settlement known as Aguopia Camp, Iyobu Camp, and Iyinkolo in Anambra West local government area of the state and beheaded scores. The rampaging herdsmen had also killed farmers and raped women in Ayamelu, Oka North, Ugbaru, Ihiala, Urumba, and Anambra East. In Edo State, the State House of Assembly said it already had a private bill against open grazing, which was kept in abeyance because of its sensitive nature. The lawmakers said they were waiting for Governor Godwin Obaseki's executive bill against open grazing to fine-tune it. The private bill was kept in view, KIV, because we want to conduct a public hearing. Edo State Speaker Honorable Marcus Onobon had told this day.